How does doctors use a baseline average player? Imagine trying to figure out how good a defender really is without just counting errors or catches. That's where defensive runs saved, or doctors, comes into play. It's like having a yardstick that measures how much better or worse a player is compared to an average defender at the same position. But how does it know what an average defender looks like? That's the key question. Doctors uses a baseline average player as a reference point. This baseline is based on data from many players at each position over many seasons. It represents what a typical defender would do in similar situations. So, instead of just looking at how many plays a player makes or misses, doctors compares each play to what an average player would have done in that exact situation. For example, when a ball is hit toward a center fielder, doctors considers the probability that an average center fielder would catch that ball. If the player makes the catch and the average would only catch it 30% of the time, the player earns a positive credit of about 0.7 runs saved. If they miss a ball that the average would catch 95% of the time, they lose about 0.95 runs. This way, doctors accounts for how difficult each play was, not just the outcome. By doing this for every play, doctors tallies up how many runs a player saves or costs their team compared to the baseline. It adjusts for the typical defensive ability at that position in that season, so it's fair across different eras and roles. For example, a good shortstop in the 1980s might look different from one today, but doctors compares both to their respective averages. This method also considers factors like range, arm strength, double play ability, and errors. It's more complete than just looking at fielding percentage because it measures how well a player can get to balls and make plays, not just avoid errors. Using a baseline average player makes doctors a clear way to see how much better or worse a defender is than the typical player at their position, giving a real picture of defensive value over time and across players.